Therefore, you're ready to say, if I can, Papa, be and in Yam Papa, and the Reverend Samuel Atinyam Pong, and they only ever be conflict resolution. Papa, other room,
Yeah. I don't know. Yango Pansum Jenkai, you know, Mama Yamon Pay. Radiant is not only and Becassa. On Cron, our church for church rain. What Jesus Christ demon. Amen.
Amen.
Yo, I don't know. Say, and then we are in our second week. Now, just to recap a little bit of what we did at first. Like I said, conflict, any clash of culture, ideas, disagreement. Now, Mr. Chimu said conflict is part of our daily lives. You cannot avoid it completely. Because nipa nkra te nchen mo class kra mo won kra mo nim say esnobia interest we pay we ni ji we hu we ni ji we hu na ebasa there's a possibility say conflict be between break out during a discussion period or an argument, and I know that you can't avoid it because even among friends, the crowd, which me I call prayer meeting and now meeting I call youth meeting. Have a little argument can break out. Have a divided and down for. Bibia obo 9 echo baby I walk now what dream on who boom no. Suddenly there's a strong argument. So be I'm a pata, na just say and yanumi will be proud of her. Even on him cry or him fear, there can be strong argument. Nippon crown recognize or hino or honti and yakum, Nubona, as I said on him, 29 AC assembly so. Now, we can say conflict can be positive or negative. It is positive when it helps us learn better ways of responding to problems or build better and more lasting relationships, or when it helps us to learn about ourselves. That is when we're able to resolve it well. But conflict too can be negative when it creates feelings of dissatisfaction. It leads to violence, strain in relationship, and non-cooperation. When you know, and then you move on fast. Types and sources of conflict. What are the types of conflict and what are the sources? Again, I want to repeat myself. So, you are building your future professional experience on these strong fundamental blocks, the foundation. You should be able to know at your fingertips. These are the types of conflict we have. These are the sources of conflict in the world. And here, with that knowledge, you can approach any conflict situation and try to do your best to resolve it or transform it. And here, we're going to look at the types and the sources of conflict. The first type is what we call the intrapersonal conflict. Intrapersonal conflict, a conflict within a person. Just a one no bibi because wa dream ne okumemu. Amo aswa yeshi. While within you, there's a civil war. And this conflict, what I call intrapersonal conflict, is experienced mostly at the time of decision making. It's a conflict that can occur when we must choose a direction for the day or of our life. When our values or ideas or wants and needs come into conflict with the world around us, we must then decide whether or not to follow our intuition or to go along with society. Emukai said, you may discuss the goals of counseling, Bako, on guiding. And I'm citing an example, just a simple example. Say, it be your baby, so choose between Soja Nibia or man a gift, iPhone near day or copy skipping way back, no, a brand new gift. And you also found your Kita Bible. Now, so a Bushan phone is also for no, about no worrying because also for a gentle or a peaceful. Now, Soja Nibia, wait me to you also. And that state, you can be thrown into a state of intrapersonal conflict. Yeah, of course, why dream utina diane hokura ukon no so be didi. Min chusu sojani ana min chusu osofo yi. Abusuafo se omo pesofo. Min so me pe osojani. Oho na me kuma wo. Na me papa nso se me fa sojani a o ma me wedding. Na me wunsu a me ma na yi ase. You see, you can be plunged into that state of intrapersonal conflict. Now it's like a civil war going on. And no crowd driving on traffic more. Red, that's all be who red, no, the only green, no can show now what they are crash will be. So if the police for about, so I didn't realize it was red. I saw that it was so and so. And now I said, me just a much stories. You go not in a car called Bonipa. So you have a police for Ebemwa or so. Me the name say you join me no HM and now so and so. The state of mind puts you out of touch with reality because there's a civil war going on within you. So that is intrapersonal. That is the conflict going on within a person. I hope so. I'm sure Matthias said you. Now we move on. The next is interpersonal conflict. Interpersonal. Interpersonal nature say first not a conflict within me. Say there I have a conflict between myself and another person, between Kwadwo and Yao, between Ama and Kwesi, or between Ama and Nakuya, two persons. It comes about mostly because of differences we have over issues such as ideas, value systems, way of life, or likes and dislikes. And I know the moon when you way in Kasa, when you way interpersonal conflict. The next one, a friend of group conflict. And this is a conflict between more than two persons. And many times, conflict between two persons do not end with the two persons. As they drag on, long conflict bring new parties on board. As friends of one side or another are sought out for support. They then form groups based on the ideas that started the conflict. Group conflict, no, I say a bushia kesiye bako. Anamunya mo school yimu. Biasa school yi. Or Chatechist school. Now, North America, Chatechist ni bako can say meet here. Australia, Chatechist bako. After North America class, no, a group sending petitions saying your branch here will apologize here. You are boycotting the lectures. Oh, Australia for say, to me ben or well, to me churo letter come a royal papa. And you almost buefu. Say royal papa a peninsula, say almost apologize, almost nipa no apologize, and almost withdraw from the Catholic cause. Now Catholic cause nego. One group no and a conflict simu any a friend group conflict. It may have started with two people, so interpersonal no make no, but then they may belong to the same bigger group or community. I feel bon say Kofini amana enyantokwa. Amanamfo abedi amachi. Kofin so namfo abedi kofiachi. And after they are Yabe Juan say group no. I collapse on Oma Seno. Maybe I make my example of Abutechi. Saying Abutechi was one community, peaceful community. Bayere ho obi bako di bayere. I have to record the story properly. Afi one peaceful community in conflict tesim, as I say, Abutachi as a town no, has collapsed. That is group conflict. And group conflict, no, you'll be surprised how far it can go. Afi busian baako no, we treat you, no, we are treat you, we treat you, we bo we, no, we abo we contain wiram say afi mo sian komo afom a, say nim ba bi a mo kɔ afom, mo be hu ne be yam. Na afi kritik na akɔdane a big conflict, destroying a whole township or destroying a big community. Na ebasa na jese sa sojafoɔ koraa ba mu ebe pata ne adeɛ peacekeeping na akɔyɛ hee. The next one in intergroup conflict. Intergroup conflict no say yɛho group no say group Abutachi group and now say Chatechist course group. Niambe huwa ni say yɛmfa no say Abutachi. Say nye between Abutachi abusuafoɔ no. Obi fi Abutachi kɔ Mampong. Ɛsɛ ɔkɔ hospital. Ɛna yɛse abrantie bi yaw no say na mo Abutachi fo mo hene koraa no ɔno koraa sɛ ɔnyɛ ɔhene pa na so nso obi ɔnom nsa no ɔyɛ sɛ ɔna mo de na si ɔhene kyɛ sɛ wayaw Abutachi fo hene nti ofi hospital ba na ɔbɛbɔ amanneɛ na Abutachi fo hey Mampɔnfo ayaw yɛn hene ɛne yɛne wɔn wɔ bi ka esi na kyɛ sɛ wɔn nso hu Mampɔnni bi na ɔmo ato agu no so kpa abobɔ no wɔ Abutachi Mampɔnfo nso ti yɛm sɛ ɛne ɛmo nso yɛne mu wɔ bi ka na ɔmo nso ɔmo atwitwi nkranteɛ ne nnua na wei nso ɔmo ate sɛ Mampɔnfo ɔba mo me nkɔhyia wɔn kuko nti ɛyɛ between one group and the other. So say any individuals, so one group versus the other, one town versus the other, even one nation versus the other nation, to two groups fighting. In Yabasa, na acquire dangerous palm. And na minimum Ghana motor say Alavanyo for anyway, and now be a man proceed for any sangro for two groups or two tribal groups. Into wenum share wenum a TJ said impose curfew on the community, the whole place near Masojafo go on patrols to make sure that no individual goes out. And at time where ma on crime more kwefum and no crown Sojafo in and ho said there will not be any attacks on individuals. Ebasa na acquire armed conflict. And yet who said we no more and nam wom krom say ya ready now we will face sangrofwe na chewon say we are there before they came yan na ya hinie no efi yen ha na mo kra mo na mo ye hefo mo fi ebia mo fi Benin na mo fa mpoano na mo bedu Ghana ha ade na mo tumi sori na mo ya yen who we no go sit down make them cheaters every day oh boy. And I captured this picture when once I was in Mozambique, Maputo, going to organize a conference for the churches over there. And from my hotel window, I saw these militia people singing with their guns. And I'm saying, Radie, Mami me program, Nami Fikro Muntem, na Asem to me. Now, this is what you can find when one group arms itself against another group. It becomes very disastrous. Then, say yahu interpersonal, group conflict, and intergroup conflict. Before we move on to sources of conflict, let's have a short discussion. What do you understand by intrapersonal conflict? Or which me akasa intrapersonal conflict. Intrapersonal conflict. But obi aware ready no.
Yeah, Stephen.
Yo,
Yeah.
Stephen.
Intrapersonal near one kasa within you, there's a decision you have to make, and there are choices. You don't know which of them to pick. That's when you have an intrapersonal conflict.
Okay. And the decision, yeah, one example of how you can be plunged into. So you can be so stressed out, say, any situation that can make you go with a loaded mental state, you are at war in yourself. You can be under stress. You can feel, say, you are being discriminated against. Now, white person, you are under something. Something is going on within you, which is not giving you peace. Say, we're aiming at establishing peace from a conflict situation. But if you have lost that peace because something is going on within you, it is intra. Indeed, it could be like what you have cited. If you have to take a decision, or you're under stress, or usikasa, unisika, yedo papa yenso etwen ya hwe wanim una wa brochire oni efa ne se o wanya bia o daso mo we nkokọ mo we kebab any beef ni ade any conflict krasi for the body a yatoto no mudi ananopa enti ya hwe wo ene ya calculating say ukra ufi Ghana be say almost 15 to 20 years ni disabre there wo ba portmanteau ba konkwa de sika nkwa meanwhile utia mortgage ni ade ewu ni sika na ye time no so ba wonam a wotitre mu nyina che se wo de wasi utias no bia nim se wo relax nso na ne ekoso wo tim no wo ye kra twitwi okra bo wa wo ho and it to me might be no community society to end it all. Thank you very much. The next type no you're doing
Interpersonal.
Mobile explain the same. Prince.
Papa, two people.
Okay.
It can be anything. Let me say last week, my example be say if you be a TV, Papa ne person share sports, my minister person be OTA news.
Okay.
No, yeah, interpersonal conflict.
Okay, thank you. The next one you're doing.
Group conflict.
Now group conflict, no, but what trust you're saying?
But a conflict arises within a group, a particular group. And you give an example, say, to say Chatechist group, and I say maybe we can have a group. I mean, many is a men's fellowship for, but I mean, because it be to say men's fellowship. Now, friend saying conflict be a COM. Senior was explaining because it may start with two people within the group, but then it will end up in the whole group.
Yes, that's good. Next type of conflict you're doing.
Intergroup conflict, Papa. Intergroup conflict.
Yo, Doc, explain intergroup no na yentie.
One, I can say one family against the other family, and I say one town against another town.
Okay.
A misunderstanding between two groups.
Yes. Yo, you've all done very well. And with this basic idea, anytime you are in a conflict situation, as a conflict expert, you can analyze and see, say man before among themselves that this is a group conflict. It's not intrapersonal. But you might say, now who say open kwadwo any mami akosuya woman at the same town enya ntokwa Omo nkasa eno ye den intergroup na ye den
Personal.
interpersonal because it's between two persons. And now who said a cool way how do you question?
Yeah. Say we say what cook will be so and now when who say opening kukojo ne antiama.
Yo.
It's possible say they are part of a group. They are conflict no our group no you will have to find out first whether they are they belong to the same group first, and after it's just personal what the issue is.
Okay. Yo, and then I make us say, in your situation be more as a conflict expert, you know. Say you first analyze. No say open him kwa jokra obi ani na chi nko na just say was sorry so and I'm saying or ye bi okwa no bi kakra fa na ni so ho. Ya de chi ya mama akosu ya kwa fomu chi ansem open kwa jo ma chi o e o bi da ma chi mu jaya na mu tikrom ha na de be at once na no say between the two. And you say a kuobi di open kwadwo a wakọ no monsa abulu afa na ni so the following morning. And you have to analyze the situation before you make, and that makes you the expert on conflict resolution. But it's possible also say open kwadwo ni maame akosua open kwadwo chifo betimi support no na maame akosua so chifo eno na akoye group conflict. But we all here and open kwadwo ni maame akosua. Yo. Thank you very much. I think you have good understanding of these issues. Good.
Papa, I have a question.
Yo, Kwajo.
But maybe I say with these types, does it build on each other? And I say in terms of assessing the situation, like build on each other in a sense. It starts from intra and then it goes to inter and then to group and then to intergroup. And I say, maybe I bet me I started from maybe interpersonal and then it jumps to intergroups.
Okay, that's fine. That's a good question. And yet all the time they follow one sequence to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. I bet you about say, you see, COVID. Minim say and say mote say, you see Ghana, Nigeria embassy staff, almost flats. Obi Klemusa assassinate and they know fa bulldozer ko bubu. What baby sir?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Papa, yeah. That's it.
You. And if I say, Onipa Koye say, even Ghana government cry apologize, so obey investigation. Nasa Nigeria fubi Ghana, they go destroy let's go the embassy too. And it not so there. It was not interpersonal between two people. They say, the act itself now is said Ghana for destroy from embassy. So you could destroy Ghana embassy. Pacho one who said the city. Even though it may have started from an individual but and yet individual versus a group. We can say inter-person group. And yet individual versus Nigeria. Once it is done in Ghana, it is taken, say, the Ghana government has authority to protect the diplomats because in the land where they live, it's like a sovereign land of Nigeria. And the one protected one there, and they said Ghana has destroyed, anti-Nigerians can also destroy Ghana's embassy. And then be a year between two people, and then from two people now be a group before it becomes intergroup. It doesn't always follow in that sequence. But Pempi now started with Nipa Baku because Taliban for America for new queen. It might have started with Osama bin Laden. The idea said no, American people are this. No, yes, or pay group will be it may be until he will be the #1 target of Americans. But then it became Taliban versus Americans. American, yeah, they may not spare him or her. Until that's how it goes. And now we can move on now. So we're going to look at the sources of conflict. Now, I want you to take note, sir. All conflicts have 3 main sources. All conflicts. First, conflict over resources. Conflict over psychological needs. Third, conflict over values. All conflict from United Nations level, Israel, Syria, so and so. 3 main sources. Sources over a conflict over resources, conflict over psychological needs, or conflict over values. And many a times you may have a combination of 2 of these levels, or even all 3. In addition, as a conflict progresses from one level to the next level, it becomes more difficult to resolve the dispute. Until there are 3. But if you're now, first one not degenerating to second one. And now I said a combination of 2, which is causing the problem. And the end, conflict over resources would usually more easily be resolved. Let me give some introductory statement. We'll come back to when. Conflict over resources will usually be more easily resolved than conflict over psychological needs, and either will be more easily resolved than conflict over values. Now, I'll say conflict over values are the most difficult to resolve because they involve the things that we hold most dear. That is the beliefs that shape our identity and give meaning to life. And this is an opening statement before we now discuss in detail. There are 3 main sources: conflict over resources, conflict over psychological needs, and conflict over values. And I can say, so 3, one is easily resolved than the other, and the other is easily resolved than the third one. The third one is very difficult to resolve. Yeah. So let's look at the main issues. Conflict over resources. These occur when 2 or more people or groups want the same thing, and there's not enough to go around. The resource is usually the first point of contention to be identified in a conflict situation, and the heat of the dispute will most often be focused there. And then when we talk about resources, we mean anything that we can share, and where there's also possibility that there's not enough to go around for everyone to get some. Let's cite an example of resources that can be shared, but it's not enough to go around all the time. What are resources? What do you think resources?
Land.
Land. Then you.
Money.
Money.
Oil.
Oil. Yeah. And these are all resources. Land, whether land, anytime you hear about land dispute, border line dispute, say then conflict being a cause or baby on a resource. Okay.
Papa, the Israelis and the Palestinians.
Okay. Israelis and Palestinians on land. Israel want to annex more land. Any other conflict be?
Papa, Ghana took Western Togoland.
Then I also
I said I want somebody declare independence. Every Ghana.
And yet, and no, they say in your land, I say, no.
But Papa, I want to I saw my son no more people.
Oh, that be independent and yet land no more fighting.
Oh, okay.
Actually, no remember almost issue. Now I know a kind. I'll raise that issue. Any other resource, please. Time you want to cite example. So you see, one thing is that if you're a conflict resolution expert, PBR was so 8-year radio, 8-year way. Uti na ekoso. Then ekoso wa ha. Now say what is a soldier for about 20 be were killed somewhere. What ya na Chatechist course until man shut down and
are you between Russia for Sikano Mutia ma and conform so Mukuma American soldiers now.
That be and yeah no I know you ever no so but a soldier for 20 have been killed recently somewhere. Okay.
Oh, China. China, India.
Exactly.
China, India.
Exactly. What were they fighting for?
Land.
Land. Borderline. We see and border near 20 have died. And it's a conflict over resources. Oil, way, land, way, sika, dine way, media. Then Tina Kuna for Muhu Amani then Wamukua, then. Ejapadia. Na mukra muwa abrochire. We just said, then Tina nipa pi eba abrochire. Some benya spiritual strength in Tiana. Eti amani aye hu nyira no bibi aye bepe na ya kofi no ye ka say kofi nso ye kofi bio. Enti obi ba cross kwan mu pa na usika worinya usika and waso be shi. Enti that is a major conflict over resources. Let's look at the next because of time. The next one, conflict over psychological needs. People have needs such as power, friendship, belonging, accomplishment, and clashes over psychological needs are usually played out over material things. But psychological needs be mayor MP. Mon vote mami na me mayor MP. Me na do me so say mayor ohene of this town. Makutu esika munsi me hene. Me na say mayor managing director. Obawe me ware no pe. Mo twimu tan kra say den ya. Ono na me say me dono me ware no. These are psychological things. They are not physical things that you can put into your bank account, or you can go and write your name by it. Psychological power, friendship, love, belonging, accomplishment, status. These are psychological things, but people die because of conflict over psychological needs. Who can cite an example of psychological need, conflict over psychological need? Yes. We are already on site example. And yet bibi a SC, but bibi a ebetumi SC, and now bibi a wati da, and now SC. Just cite an example.
Papa,
yeah, Prince. After that, not doctor.
Pacho, your friends, you share Ghana politics. Also, you have two main parties, MPP and NDC. Now, Abribia party bako person say they are better, they've done better, or they will do better than the other. And no, yeah, I dare to me the conflict about maybe more my nipa wukra ewom.
You maybe say they want to prove that they've done better and tinekum nipa. What is and no one tina wokum is that their goal? Say the person prove that they have done better.
Upper power.
Upper power.
Yeah.
That's it. Say I have if we've done better, then say bet me actual school board or so now your printing book now you distribute. But they want power. The power to be in government. And by proving so say we have done better. Inti mumma yen 2 million yen power. But what I say, Prince. Into they are all landed on power. So they are seeking power. And in seeking power, no, they may demonstrate say, yeah, they need but power and worship. And not just testimony. Any other something? Yes. Yeah, Dr.
Sometimes to say, yeah, when fun say Ghana, a hypothetical there. When say Ghana, na ABA or might be to say Nigeria, sorry, Etia Ghana. Na America say, oh, Ghana 4 years, me now for 4. Kwako Boawam na ya me Nigeria for Akuntoka. That based on the friendship that they want to form, they end up partnering and then fighting Nigeria.
Okay. That's also a good example if the goal is about friendship. Say Ghana for any Nigeria for now in America per se will win Ghana heart so that Ghana will rather become a friend to Nigeria into some of the Nigeria so that they will win Ghana. Yeah. It's just a fighting over the friendship, you know. There are several examples. Obey, where can you phone soon? My dear, Kwajo, me dopana, me person best so the boy I mean, no horse to say, or mammy crank. One now, we are boy now, no horse to say, who's our message now? Anybody? One who said, Obi to me, call be so rival, be to me, call to show be so no concert or Jinikunu.
Yes.
Oh, Monty be that one.
Oh, yeah, maybe the acid Kragu rivals.
Be crowd the acid. Ninya about love, about friendship, conflict resulting because ways of the way, now ways of the way, not at the clash. Baby may call Europe. JP now, yeah, quite sorry, me city country back home. Now, yeah, quite sorry. Me obviously me dress it quite fun, so yeah, ready. Or how I be from yeah. So brother. And then yeah, mammy be finance sorry. And to me ba se kwaya ni baako no atum kosua bɔ no me ma so se wo me kese o wo pɛ sɛ wo Jimmy kun yɛde nkosua no nyinaa n'anim a nkosua hwɛ sɛ wayɛ w'anim pancake wei no yɛfrɛ makeup na nkosua tetare w'anim ne wo wig ne wo Brazilian hair yɛde no by I had to pour oil on her to neutralize the curse. It is conflict over what?
Love.
About love. And the love, power, status. And status no and you be a more and some psychological. Many nana obrimpong ututubanchi the first. Na we and nana yes that be nana you are not the qualified person. Ebusian we na SNT nana sifem. Hey. Already we are nana otuobu yes nana we are board the first. We are born and so malaria mosquito a cow mau so a din Ghana for him for a din akesi or dear mind or start dear young obia power status. These are psychological needs. So when there's chieftaincy dispute, conflict over psychological needs. There's a mokayo. Mokai yo.
Papa, question.
Yes.
Papa, funny sir. I just want to give a wild example. So funny sir. Infants papa bi wo ho o worry infants o worry baako ana ono ne wo ye no worry another one ono wo ye na papa ni free mu na free mu no will no ade no mo che no bia odi bibi ma we no odi bibi ma we and there was a conflict between the two. I fancy two wives with their children over this property and that property. Can we consider that as a conflict of psychological need or it's a conflict of resource?
Okay. What are the kuna almost fighting over? No? Can you see it physically?
Mpachai.
And it's a resource.
Psychological need in your belonging and accomplishment to
Yo, say accomplishment. I want to be the managing director, the boss. So they say from boss are
okay.
So black who were Juma 15 years in it. Why a deputy coordinator and a deputy supervisor and a supervisor na wareta. Na ye pay will be a with your sorry crowd that hey, praise the Lord. Me wa dance di me supervisor no wareta me so many deputy. Enti enchekra nyanum erade be pejame. Tio be pejame. Ma she menunyam. Enye sada no be one for the so dia share erade no nyam ya clap am. Afo ko adwuma adwada no obekwa obroni abrantie bi ena obegina hoyi a okra oba pahin kra enyisin no are you Mr. Kwadwo so and so the deputy? Oh, I'm happy to meet you. I'm the newly appointed supervisor who have been brought from the company's headquarters. Oh, wani beji you say wani beji abrantie no ho. You will not love this young man because to me and Kawubenya, you forget about the stika allowance everybody. To me, see a process supervisor. Well, Afiro, you will not like this person. I hear you cry, Uchia cry when you so. So you move be in fact, even in the church cry to me did by church move. The person me the moderator. Now we have a cross mark and me my humbi. We have a cross now come no abedi. Sani pano one fan channel that. Sanka minesa me ban we abedi now or no sanka China me ba me time. A lot happens. And the psychological needs can be powerful crossing property. Because it's like many to me and Kamibedi no we yefim MPP power and ye ban and this the focus was jiffy and some. And these are way I said yeah, very careful. Now the last one, because of time factor. The last one is conflict over values. And values are the basis of our belief system. And that is why these disagreements are the most difficult to resolve. In such conflicts, we respond with the most deep-seated defensiveness and tenacity. In the midst of conflict that involve values differences, it is difficult to abandon old ways and choose to make new responses. And conflict over values, no, conflict over your belief system, what you live for and you're ready to die for. Your faith, what forms your life, the meaning of your life, your identity with a particular belief system or ideology. any bibisa. And it is very, 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 is the most difficult way to change. Let me ask you a question, America for Nancy Pelosi, what's the name?
Pelosi.
Oje they say who enticing with $100,000 say on shifting bra Trump camp. Obeje no about.
There be that.
Oh yeah, sure.
No way.
So Trump who are the Democrats and the Republican.
Republicans. No way.
Only Democrats who not come join the camp of Trump now. That maybe not Trump or cry and vice president.
No way.
No matter.
See, maybe Sakaka, Muje say, Fanny said, Obi to say more motive. Now Muslim be if Saudi Arabia, but say, Aluminium said, you've come to America, a Japadia ope bibi dia kofi. Me oil takun be a businessman. I want to give you $30,000. This one be a fresh cash. Just change your clothes from being Chatechist and come and become a Muslim. Your mosque be one area, baby. I'm nanka. The malam in charge of that mosque. When you say obey 30,000.
No.
Hey, Steven.
Baba,
No.
me question trauma is here. Can I put it this way? So say, but yeah, I can't. Cause I say yeah, to me and Tom and me to me. No, yeah, work of our mammy aban.
Can be on a minute.
But say, me you so I can't language. Say yeah, to me and Tom and me to me and I got to me. No. Now on Saka to me and I be up to me go mammy aba. In this scenario, put to for the Saudi Arabia for oil day.
No.
Can I take it and get the power and then use the power not to get what I need back then?
Yeah, you are converting to become a Muslim, to be the Muslim Malam in charge of a mosque in your community. And once you've taken the money and you have been ordained as the Malam in charge of the mosque, having a Uber catch young of say, hey, me stand about Christianity, my Kojis me stand by now. Immediately, say, even those who flock are Uja it could be sketchy, I'll call you a Malam and say, about you say, no, anything power. Uja say, okay, say, Omumramedi is a you. They will not. And we're talking about beliefs and values that you cherish, that someone wants to take away from you. You will be ready to do what?
Die for it.
Die for it. That's why I began by saying, we have the three sources of conflict now. Which one is easy to resolve?
The resources.
I didn't.
When I say a physical, and it's easy. I think it's easy to find out who really owns it and
no, I said we all own it.
Papa and resources.
What you mean? Oh, sorry. Prince, go ahead.
No one can make no.
Yeah. Then Anka Obeka.
Na me near Kojoka say Anka resource in there, Sabia landa, ye bet me a chemumino. Na mom no.
Okay.
About values are you mean to me yeah half cremo, half Christian.
Okay. And that exactly so. Waiting at Chemumino or waiting at Gaza on fat, as I say, a dear, you better, you be wager on fat. Now, I'm a home to me. Now, who is the waiting I got to as I say for and now car on fat. But when it comes to Okay, now, also I know you're the most difficult. Which one is the next lighter to solve? The second, maybe it's difficult to solve.
Psychological.
And also, what Jeremy saying, then you can easily solve it.
So because it's over power and friendship, and accomplishment, sometimes the friendship, you have to go through other people to get the friendship, or you have to destroy people to also get the reward,
You have to destroy. Okay, and how do you resolve? We're talking about
emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, emotions to play a part here.
Yeah,
and it's a little like love and all that.
Yeah, and it's difficult to resolve. But how would you resolve? What are some of the ways by which you can resolve?
Papa, you find the politics. Now, maybe MPP, NDC, and I say Republicans, Democrat, okay. But I resolve. My way move 4 years. I'm call 4 years. We should to me call another 4 years.
Okay. And then, what other ways? Psychological.
Papa, you can always say compromise,
Okay.
And
in what way? No, I cite example.
Okay, I mean, say, ABR, there's issue, say, if I say, a say budget, and now minimum budget negotiation. We say me per say, we say me per this side, and the two groups we can work together to compromise. Say, okay, say, and I say, bibisa na.
Okay, so what kind of budget there now? Can see cars now?
Well, may find say power, so you know.
And then now land on power. No sika there, and say better can so. Don't first sika no. You cry and pay. You be quite good for baby. And then resources. Okay, there are so many examples.
And I say a promotion now can say. Yeah, you can say, okay, menya, it's all right. On pakono, yeah, continue on.
Okay, or you can even resign and go and find another better job. Just Obi mentioned it has to do with emotion. Why you have become emotionally attached to position be occupied. Now for better respect. Forget about the allowances, but me pan and SME nana oketechie obrimpon or the second. After the abranti be abase on na ye amano. Now what even crown for started from oketechio nana oketechie to say after court a rule said you are not qualified. Now if you na mabontinas din be near the fro. I've lost my status. These are psychological things. Now values, it's like ujidi a ujinamu. I know the obi temper with it. I know better than you compromise. You let the person say for the sake of peace, may a Muslim.
No.
So,
you can compromise on your beliefs.
And then to me, say most conflicts around the world which are not still resolved, play around religion. Play around religion. Now, says our story, Mote, say, Nigeria na bus be if a Christian area be a long bus, and a Muslims is a block and a joke. It's a Kumasi Accra buses or block way. I say all Christians. If there's any Muslim in the bus, they should get down. Hey, Obia's room, you. And some Muslims who best rose a Christian food never attack on, but brave ones be see firms or more Muslims. Don't be sad, won't be to say, okay, now go. share petrol go car no need passengers in so and they burn them drago and religion the north in Nigeria conflict ekoso wo Boko Haram nomni ade nya ekoso even religion no krampo bin kra within groups kra divided Yemen nomna Saudi for support to wenum Iran for support to wenum Jews anyway even though it is land when him said Jews for no it belonged to a different religion we also belong to it makes it difficult to solve even the land problems resources problems because I play into religion. And religion is very difficult to solve. Conflict over religion is more difficult than psychological needs, which is more difficult than conflict over resources. And that must be our last question. Say end time will do. Yo, and will be any question there. And say we will meet again next week. You've done very well. I want you to go and cite some examples under resources, 2 examples under conflict over resources, 2 examples under conflict over psychological needs. Now 2 examples of examples under conflict over values. You're discussing your money P, but my any concrete and interesting. So a live story be announced be a course between our site be and no more marks than say otherwise you say say angel Gabriel any satanic angel be a conflict over and yet to be convinced angel Gabriel no say I'm power no and to the ultimate site some clear examples be why Radin Shramunyana Royal Papa over to you.
Thank you. Notes now.
Ayo, my send it to Royal Papa. Why? And then by close of day, no me the notes, no you know man. But me pese, it's a complete one. Next week lessons no bad. Like I last week. Then when you know you. But my bomb didn't have the amount. The matcher no time on releasing in your mamma. But they say the Namati no big who kakra any kakra watch on. Why? You. Thank you. Royal Papa, over to you.
Yo, there's Papa just Prince Amako Reverend Dr. Semaya. Why?
Yo. Papa the mijina manemo ne minuan manemo dawasipi wo apo a wo de amaye numre osanadwe wo ha ya menchira wo pi na onhye wo ma sane be next week o de more be ka na yenya ne ho. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. Radin Shiramunya. Royal Papa, God bless you.
God bless you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.